In 1994, Mother 2, better known as Earthbound in the West, released for the Super Nintendo. While it wasn't a major success at the time, it went on to become one of the most influential RPGs in the genre, inspiring a generation of indie developers who would later create some of gaming's most inspired titles. Titles like Omori.
Omori was the name of a blog which I used for self-expression and to vent some pretty turbulent feelings as a troubled young adult. Even though they look the same, this Omori is completely different from the one in the final game.
Originally created as a Tumblr blog to help its author cope with a difficult part of their life, Omocat initially envisioned the project becoming a graphic novel. However, the plan eventually shifted towards video games, as the medium felt better suited to the story they wanted to tell.
Omori was going to be a graphic novel that began with the protagonist waking up from a coma. But the more the story developed, the more the cutscenes came to me as game scenarios. The same thoughts kept occurring to me. This moment would work better as a game.
With that decision, Omori was officially born. In 2014, the project launched a Kickstarter campaign that reached its funding goal within a single day, a massive success by any measure. But despite this strong start, development soon faced unexpected challenges. The game, originally planned to release the following year, encountered multiple setbacks. 3 separate delays, the need for additional funding, and even a change in the version of RPG Maker being used. As the project languished in development hell, many feared it would join the ranks of several other overhyped Kickstarter campaigns that never delivered.
I just felt like Omori's development was always very scary. There was always a lot of fear, a lot of pressure. So it's really a miracle that it worked out.
Yet, in December 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Omori finally released on Christmas Day to near universal acclaim, delivering an unforgettable experience, all too relevant to the isolation brought on by the global crisis. A common criticism of RPG Maker titles is their sameness. Because the engine is so beginner-friendly, countless projects share similar aesthetics and mechanics, leading to a stigma that RPG Maker games are copy-and-paste experiences. While there is some truth to this perspective, the reality is that many of today's most creative indie games were built with RPG Maker, and Omori is one of its greatest examples. In terms of gameplay, Omori distinguishes itself through its innovative turn-based combat, centering around the emotion system. Both allies and enemies can be affected by different emotions, each of which provides distinct advantages and drawbacks. Happiness boosts speed and luck at the expense of accuracy. Anger raises attack but lowers defense. Sadness increases defense while reducing speed and redirects a part of incoming damage to the juice meter instead of health. Emotions can also be stacked for stronger effects, and they interact in a rock-paper-scissors dynamic. Happiness beats anger, anger beats sadness, and sadness beats happiness. Moreover, certain skills also gain extra effects depending on the emotions involved, adding a deeper layer of strategy and team building. The combat system also features a follow-up mechanic, allowing characters to chain special actions after an ally's attack. These interactions change depending on the characters involved and change as the party's bond deepens. For example, early in the game, when Kale passes his ball to Omori, Omori accidentally takes damage and becomes sad. Later, as their relationship grows, Omori instead catches the ball, strikes an enemy, and becomes happy. Using these follow-up attacks requires the use of the energy gauge, which is a shared meter that fills as the party takes damage. Each follow-up costs at least 3 points, and a fully charged meter allows the use of a devastating team attack. Beyond mechanics, Omori also shines visually. Every attack features a distinct animation, and every character has unique expressions for each emotion, infusing battles with personality rarely seen in other games. This level of detail extends beyond combat. Though its surface aesthetic may appear simple, the game's visuals paired with its phenomenal soundtrack create a deeply immersive experience. Omori isn't just visually appealing. It's a work of art that resonates on a profoundly emotional level that, to truly understand, you have to witness yourself.
I wanted something that really hit me the way that I knew media could make me feel, but to me it felt like, well, I guess I made Omori kind of like for myself for that reason. Just to make something that I felt like I needed when I was younger.
The story of Omori is both beautiful and devastating, addressing topics we often avoid: fear, depression, grief, and loss. These heavy themes are portrayed with nuance and realism, showing the true weight such emotions can carry, particularly for younger people. The narrative demonstrates how grief manifests differently through anger, regret, denial, or even acceptance. Most importantly, it emphasizes that even the deepest wounds can be healed, especially with love and support. It's a heartrending story that resonates universally, as everyone has faced their own struggles, demons, and grief. That familiarity makes Omori's story not only powerful but profoundly relatable, and equally compelling is its cast of characters. A close-knit group of childhood friends bound by love, yet fractured by tragedy. Separated by hardship, each is left to cope with trauma alone before eventually reuniting, though not unchanged. Years have passed, wounds remain, and the once unbreakable bonds have been altered. What makes the cast so remarkable is the dual perspective. We witness their carefree childhood alongside the weight of their fractured present. Their growth, struggles, and transformations feel authentic. Every main character, Hiro, Kel, Aubrey, Mary, Basil, and Sunny, feels like a real person. Players can see themselves or people they know reflected in them. The selfless overachiever, the spirited troublemaker, the quiet friend hiding deeper pain. Because they're written with such authenticity, their struggles resonate more deeply and their stories feel more impactful.
A character that mirrors my personal experiences is Aubrey. Aubrey's character comes from my transition from childhood to young adulthood. My parents said as a kid I was very sweet and would always be friendly to strangers, but as a result of negative experiences, I became closed off and quiet. But really, my insides were filled with anger.
Omori is the first piece of media in a long time to truly make me feel for its characters. Throughout my journey, there were many moments when I deeply sympathized with them and wished for their happiness. It's the first game that has ever even come close to moving me to tears, something that rarely happens for me, especially with games. To me, that speaks volumes not only to the strength of its characters, but also to the power of its story. Honestly, there's no other way to describe my time with Omori but perfect. It's a game I believe everyone should experience, and for that reason, I consider it one of very few titles worthy of a perfect 5 out of 5. So, if you're looking for an unforgettable experience, then check out the description for a link to Omori. Or, if you'd like to watch my blind playthrough of this masterpiece, check out my Omori playlist. With that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.